Hi, and welcome to the Coastal Kitchen. I'm Karen Mashers, and today we are going to celebrate Mardi Gras. I have with me my friend Mike Ericksen, and he's going to make some wonderful shrimp étouffée. We're going to have some skillet cornbread with creamed corn, a Mardi Gras salad, and finale is a king cake. So Mike, I am so pleased that you're here with me today. He has cooked for fire departments, he's cooked in Afghanistan, and this is a real treat for all of us. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Karen.
Okay, let's get started with the shrimp étouffée. Take it away, Mike.
Okay. We're going to start out with our shrimp, and I'm going to show everybody how to go ahead and peel your shrimp and devein it. So let's start with that.
Okay, now these look like they're about 1620s shrimp count, right?
These are 1620s, right?
That's great. They're a good-looking shrimp, really good-looking shrimp.
And while we're peeling the shrimp, we're going to go ahead and save the shells for our stock. And to go ahead, we've got this one peeled here. And the way you devein it is you go to the back side of the shrimp and cut down the vein. And then we'll cut the vein right out of it and pull it out so that we clean it good. There we go. And we put that aside, and we'll just throw that in the garbage when we're done. So what we want to do now is add some of our spice to our shrimp, and then we're going to put it up in the refrigerator until we're ready to use it. So we're going to take some essence here, a teaspoon. We're going to take 1 teaspoon of the essence, add it to our shrimp, and we're going to stir it in, and the rest of this is going to go into the shrimp étouffée. When we're ready, we'll put these up.
Put these in the fridge for you.
Okay, what we could do now is we can start our stock. So what we want to do is we're going to take 2 32-ounce vegetable stocks here. We're going to add our shells to the bowl here. And then we're going to add the stock.
Just pour the stock in,
Pour
correct?
the stock directly in.
What do you want me to turn this on, Mike?
And we'll turn it up a little higher right now so we can start bringing it to a boil.
Okay.
And then we'll turn it down to a simmer. When we're ready to add this to the shrimp étouffée, we'll use a strainer so that we don't get any of the shells into the shrimp étouffée.
So we've got that going, and we don't need to cover that, do we?
No, we don't have to cover that.
Okay.
That'll just go ahead and start boiling, and then we'll just let it simmer while we're getting the rest of the shrimp étouffée going.
Okay.
Okay, and we're going to move on now to our sausage. What I like to do is just cut it in half, each one, and then cut them into pieces.
The smell of that sausage is wonderful.
Smells
Absolutely
good.
wonderful.
What we want to do is take some extra virgin olive oil first, put it in the pan. Well, let's move the shrimp stock to the back burner.
Okay.
And then we can move the bigger pot over here and start our sausage.
All right. That'll get that hot real quick.
Okay. Once that starts heating up, I'm going to take the sausage, and what we want to do is bring this to a pretty good brown. We're going to leave the any crust after this cooks in the bottom of the pan. And that will help flavor our shrimp étouffée. Okay, Karen, I think that the sausage is about ready to come off.
All right, I know you need this
plate. Looks brown enough. Okay.
You're just going to drain that on paper towels, right?
Take the sausage out and put it on some paper towels here.
Let me turn this off for you.
Turn that off.
All right, I'll put that over here for you.
Okay. Well, now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and add our stick of butter. I'll just go ahead and cut that in half and throw it right in there. We'll let that start melting down. And we will get our flour over here. And we're going to start our roux. Let this melt down. Okay, Karen, we want our roux to be the consistency and color of peanut butter.
Okay, that's great.
Okay.
Here. There you go.
So I'm going to go ahead and add our flour. Okay, there we go. And then I'm going to
Little
stir
stir.
that in.
There you go.
And bring it, let it start thickening up. I think what I'll do is put a little bit more flour in there.
Wow, you can see all the bits from the sausage have cooked into the roux. Now what, Mike?
Okay, well now what we're going to do, Karen, is we're going to start adding our vegetables. So now we have our vegetables in here, and we're going to let that cook down for about 5 to 10 minutes.
Okay.
Stirring constantly with in our roux. And then as soon as this starts cooking down, we're going to go ahead and add one 14.5 ounce can of diced tomatoes.
Okay.
Okay, well Karen, before we add the tomatoes, we're going to go ahead and add our spices.
Okay.
And it looks like the veggies are starting to break down a little bit, so we'll go ahead and add our tomatoes and let that cook down for about 5 to 8 minutes also. Once this cooks down, then we'll go ahead and we're going to go ahead and add our shrimp stock, and then we're going to add our sausage back, and we're going to let this simmer for 45 minutes. Okay, Karen. Before we add our liquids, we're going to go ahead and throw in 2 tablespoons of fresh garlic and stir that in.
My mouth's starting to water.
And then we are ready to add our liquids.
Okay, we need a strainer, right?
Yes, we do.
Okay, let me get that. Here, you use these pot holders,
Okay,
and
Karen.
I'll use this one.
All
and
right.
I'll hold while you pour.
Okay, so let's be careful here. Okay, we added our liquid.
Nice and steamy.
Nice and steamy. And we're going to add our fresh parsley. Half a cup of fresh parsley to it. And then I'm going to go ahead and add our sausage back.
Alrighty. You want me to put that in?
You can. We're going to bring this to a simmer and cover it and let it simmer for 45 minutes. And once it simmers for 45 minutes, we'll be able to add our shrimp back into it, and we will be ready to eat.
Okay, sounds great. What we're going to do is take a short break. We'll hear a word from our sponsors, and I'm going to get the king cake ready to get started.
Most people couldn't fit 200 local farms on their table. Well, that's where we come in. For the very best of everything local, Lowe's Foods.
Welcome back to the Coastal Kitchen. I've already started on my king cake. I actually put 2 packages of yeast, a half a cup of water, and a half a cup of 2% milk that was heated to about 110 to 115 degrees in with my yeast, and now it has bloomed. You can see right here, it is ready. So that takes about 15-20 minutes. It takes a little while, so that's why we started without you. Alright, king cake. Let's put in our eggs. I've got 2 egg yolks, and that goes right in on top. And I'm going to get everything out of there that I can. I've got a stick of butter, and it's room temperature, and it just goes right in. I put a little sugar in when I was blooming my yeast, but I'm putting the rest of my sugar, which was half a cup total, and I'm just going to stir this around for just a few minutes. Alright, now I'm putting in 1/4 of a teaspoon of nutmeg. Fresh nutmeg that I ground up just a little while ago. I got this great nutmeg grinder. It takes about 45 turns to make 1/4 of a teaspoon. That's going in. And I've got a teaspoon and a quarter of salt. And we're just going to stir this for just a sec. Now the secret with the flour is I've got 3½ cups of flour right here. And I'm going to put just a little bit in at a time and stir. I've got about 3 cups of all-purpose flour incorporated right now, and I am going to put about a teaspoon of orange zest, and it takes about 1 orange to do that. So we're going to put a teaspoon of lemon zest in also. That's 1. Just make sure you don't get the white part, the pith. Okay, got that. Now, the one thing that you need to do is make sure that the flour, after you have everything stirred in, comes away from the bowl. And I have reserved a ½ cup of flour, just about a ½ cup, so I can tell how much more I need to put in. And this is still a little sticky, and it will be sticky, so I'm going to put just a little more flour in. I think that's all we need. I'm just going to put this right on my board. And now we're going to knead the dough for about 6 to 8 minutes. Want it to be soft and elastic, a little glossy, and it doesn't take more than a lot of elbow grease. So we're going to start kneading. Okay, this has been a fun time, but it is ready now, and you can tell it's got a little sheen to it. The butter's not completely melted, so that's going to give it some nice fresh space inside the dough. Alright, I'm going to take this out. It has to rise. So I'm just going to spray some Pam around my bowl. I'm going to put this right in the center, and then I'm going to turn it over. I have already got one made, so I'm just going to take the saran wrap right off of this one and put this one right on the top of the stove to start to rise again. It takes about an hour and a half, and what we've got to do is we've got to pull this out and punch it down. Just gonna spread that around, and I'm gonna start rolling, and I'm gonna roll this into a rectangular shape, because with this king cake I'm going a little bit beyond the traditional, and I'm going to use a filling. You can see that it just about covers this board. Let's put this down here, get rid of my excess flour, and I'm going to show you how to make the filling. Grab my stuff. I've got some pecans, some golden raisins, some cinnamon, and some sugar, and I've got some bourbon. The bourbon is optional, but it gives it a good little flavor. I'm just going to combine all of these in a bowl. And give them a stir. Get that sugar and cinnamon all the way down to the bottom. And you can see this is a dry mixture. And I want it a little bit wet, not too much. And so what I do is I just eyeball it And if you don't want to use this, you can use a little bit of orange juice. And it will work well with the orange and lemon peel. But I just put probably a teaspoon, maybe a tablespoon. And I'm going to stir it around and see if I need to add any more. This is the quick part. Alright, looking good. Alright, we are going to take this mixture and I'm just going to sprinkle it right down the center. And I'm going to go all the way around, leaving about a ½ an inch from the edge. Alright. Now, I'm going to rinse my hands off. We have to roll this like a jelly roll. And we're going to start with the long end. And just lift it up from your board. And make sure that first cut gets over the top. And we're going to roll all the way down. Alright, bring this right around. And we're going to seal the dough. Let's roll that this way. I'm going to use a non-stick pan. And got mine right here. And I like to sort of push these two edges together and give them a nice little pinch to close them up. Even it out. And use some egg wash just over the top so it gets nice and brown. Alright, got the egg wash on. We're going to put this in a 350 oven and we're going to leave it in there between 15 and 20 minutes. You just need to look at it and make sure that it looks nice and golden brown. Then when we take it out, we'll put our little baby in. I've got our little baby Jesus right here. And we're not going to put this one in before we bake it because it could melt. Some people use porcelain. Some people even have gold baby Jesuses that they make for their family traditional cake. Okay, I'm going to make a little bit of icing and have it ready. So just give me a sec. I've got yellow, green, and purple sanding sugar. This is going to go on the top of our king cake, but we're also going to make a white icing. And I'm going to take about 2 cups of icing sugar, confectionery sugar, and add a little bit of water in there and just stir it around. This cake has a lemony flavor, so what I'm going to do is take the lemon that I used the zest from, and I'm going to give it a nice little slit right on the side, and I am going to squeeze in some lemon juice. I want it nice and lemony. Okay, stir that around and see what kind of consistency we've got. Add a little more water because we want something that is thick enough to spread. I'm going to stir this until it's the beautiful satiny color and consistency that I want. It's almost there. You can see when I pick a spoonful up, it just drizzles down. I'm going to work on this, clean up a little bit, and Mike and I are going to have a sip of sangria while we wait on our king cake. Okay, we're back again, and I think this is just about ready. Ooh, it's beautiful, golden brown. Now, the one thing that I did do is I let it rise for about 30 minutes before I put it in the oven. So make sure you do that. All right. I'm going to transfer this. Just use my spatula. And I'm going to put it on a rack, wire rack, and I'm going to let it cool for about 10 minutes because I don't want to put the icing on while it's just out of the oven. want it little cooling time. And then we'll put the baby in. Let's go over to make our skillet cornbread. Mike, will you join me?
Sure, will.
We're going to make skillet cornbread with creamed corn and a little kick Rotel tomatoes.
All right.
Put a little bit of that in. The first thing we're going to do is add all of our dry ingredients. And I'll let you stir and I'll put in. We've got a cup and a quarter of cornmeal, and right there is a cup of flour. We're going to put that together. A little bit of kosher salt. Got a little bit of sugar. And you can put in however much that you like. And some baking powder. All right, Mike, mix that up for me if you will.
Okay.
This takes about 20 minutes in a 425 oven. And we're going to put our melted butter in next. And it's ready to go. I like to let it set up just a little bit. Keeps a little bit of the consistency there. Now our creamed corn. Now this is a about 7.5 ounce can. It's the small can of creamed corn. All right, go ahead and mix that up for me, Mike.
Okay.
And to that, while you're mixing, I'm going to pour in some milk. This is a good, easy recipe. Pour and store. All right, I've got 2 eggs, and they have just been lightly beaten. That goes in too. Doing a good job there.
Well, thank you. Yeah.
Okay, looks good. I think we've got it all incorporated. Don't need to stir it too much. And I'm going to put in some Rotel. All right. Remember, it's the way that you like it.
Okay, just
so
a
let's
little
get
mix.
those in, just a nice turn mix. And I've got a skillet, cast iron, right behind you. I'll bring it this way. And we're going to pour that right on top. Quick and easy and great to eat. Okay, I'm going to give it a little shake and put it right in the oven. Be about 20 minutes. We're going to take a short break. We're going to come back and make our salad, finish our rice and our shrimp étouffée, and Mike and I are going to sit down and enjoy a little more of that sangria. Okay, that's in and done. We're going to go back to our king cake, finish up the icing. Let me move this out of the way. And you want it nice and warm to be able to make this icing spread evenly over the top and start to drizzle down the sides. So 1 big spoonful. And I'm just going to put it right in the center. Once you have that on, we're going to alternate colors. Alright, we're just going to let this cool, and then when it's completely cool, I am going to put the baby right in the bottom. We'll be back in just a few minutes after a word from our sponsor. We're going to go ahead with Mike and finish our étouffée. Going to get our rice rolling and make our salad, and then we'll be ready to eat.
Most people couldn't fit 200 local farms on their table. Well, that's where we come in. For the very best of everything local, Lowe's Foods.
Welcome back to the Coastal Kitchen. I'm getting ready to make my Mardi Gras salad, but I think my cornbread is ready to come out of the oven. So let me take a quick peek. Oh, it looks good and it smells good. I'm going to take that out, put it right there. And what I do is I take a stick of butter, leave a little bit of the paper on, just go over the top with a little bit of butter. Nice and moist, buttery flavor. Okay, we're good. Now we're going to work on our Mardi Gras salad. And I'm chopping up some zucchini. I've got some yellow squash cut up, and I thought, what kind of salad can we do for Mardi Gras? And I thought, green, gold, and purple. So we've got yellow squash, zucchini. We've got some mixed greens that have been washed and dried. And we are going to throw some things on top. Mike, you just throw that right on the top.
Okay.
Just sprinkle it right around. Alright, I'm putting about 2 tablespoons of Creole mustard right there. And I am going to add to that some red wine vinegar. And I'm just going to whisk it in. Just keep going with those beats.
How many beets would you like, Karen?
Yeah, a little bit more. That's good. Alright, now I'm going to add a little salt. Just a little kosher salt. Nice pinch. I want that red wine absorbed into, and we're going to do the same with olive oil. I've got about 5 tablespoons of olive oil, and I'm just going to drizzle in a little at a time. Okay. Now I'm going to put in just a little bit of honey. Need that sweetness to balance out that vinegar and the mustard.
What about this okra, Karen?
Put some of that on the top.
Okay.
And I'm going to put in just a squeeze of lemon juice. Give it a little brightness. Alright, sliced olives, just throw those right on top. Ooh, that's good.
Alright. Okay, we're going to take our shrimp now and add it to the shrimp étouffée that's been cooking and simmering. And once we put this in, it only takes a minute, and we shut it off, and then it's ready to serve.
Here, I'll move this back over here for you. We don't even need to turn it on, do we? Because they cook quicker than...
It'll cook quick. It's still simmering now. We're going to go ahead and just put it right in.
Takes about a minute and a half and it'll be done, right, Mike?
That's it. Just stir it in and let it sit.
We're going to have a quick word from our sponsor, and we will be back to show you how we put the whole thing together.
Most people couldn't fit 200 local farms on their table. Well, that's where we come in. For the very best of everything local, Lowe's Foods.
Welcome back to the Coastal Kitchen. I have my friend Mike Ericksen, and he's getting ready to finish his shrimp étouffée for our Mardi Gras meal. Okay. Tell me what you're doing.
Karen, this is the way I like to serve up my shrimp étouffée. We will bowl up some of the jasmine rice that we prepared, and then we'll place it inside the bowl, and it'll pack down. Just give it a little tap, and you'll get a nice round
Wow, that's
layer,
great.
Layer.
Take a look at that.
We'll bring
Here,
it over.
I'm going to give you a spoon. You take one, I'll take one.
We'll garnish first.
Oh, gosh, yes.
We'll garnish with a little green onion. Piece of lemon.
All right, I'm ready. You can tell I'm ready.
Right,
I'm ready for this without a problem. You can find us, search for us on Facebook, look for the Coastal Kitchen. You can find these recipes and more. This is fabulous.
Delicious.
Join us next time on the Coastal Kitchen. Laissez les bons temps rouler.
Let the good times roll.
Oh, aren't we gonna?